Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Read Aloud Time. So we are getting close to the end, but not quite there yet. We are, I lost my page. We are on, we just read John. Remember John, he needed books read upside down. There we are. We're on chapter 18 today. Leslie, look at Leslie. Leslie, let's see what Leslie's about. Leslie had 5 fingers on each hand and 5 toes on each foot. For each hand, she had an arm, and for each foot, she had a leg. She was a very lucky girl, and she had 2 lovely long brown pigtails that reached all the way down to her waist. Remember, she got her pigtails pulled. When Mrs. Jules asked a question, Leslie could raise one of her hands. When Leslie was adding, she could count on her fingers. When Paul pulled one of her pigtails, she could kick him with one foot while standing on the other. But Leslie had one problem. She didn't know what to do with her toes. She had 10 adorable little toes and nothing to do with them. As far as she could tell, they served no useful purpose. Suck your toes, that's what I do, said Sherry. That's gross. But Leslie's foot wouldn't reach her mouth. Well, that's all toes are good for, said Sherry, and she put her foot in her mouth and went to sleep. Oh my goodness. No, thought Leslie, they must be good for something. They just have to be. During recess, she asked Dana, Dana, what do you do with your toes? I scratch the back of my legs, said Dana. First, I scratch my left leg with my right foot. Then I scratch my right leg with my left foot. But my legs don't itch, said Leslie. Well, that's good, said Dana. In that case, you can scratch my legs. With your help, I can scratch both legs at the same time. Remember, Dana had mosquito bites. No, never mind, said Leslie. She walked up behind Louis, the yard teacher, and hopped on his shoulders. Louis, said Leslie, I don't know what to do with my toes. Louis tugged her foot. Yes, that is a serious problem, he said. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take them off your hands for you, or rather your feet. Just cut them off and give them to me. What? Asked Leslie. You don't want them, so I'll take them, said Louis. You won't have to worry about them ever again. No, said Leslie. I'll give them to Miss Mush, said Louis. She can make little hot dogs out of them. Miss Mush was the lunch teacher. No, I'm not giving my toes away, said Leslie. All right, I'll give you a nickel apiece for them. You can't have them, said Leslie. Well, why not? They're no good to you anyway. And think of all you can buy for 50 cents. The bell rang. I'll think it over, said Leslie, and she ran back up to class. Mrs. Jules, said Leslie, I don't see any reason for keeping my toes. Oh, Leslie, I'm sure there's lots of good reasons, said Mrs. Jules. Well, I can't think of any. My legs don't itch, and I can't get my foot in my mouth. Louis offered me a nickel apiece for them, and that seems to be like a good deal, but I wanted to check with you first. I think Louis was pulling your leg, said Mrs. Jules. No, said Leslie, he was pulling my toes. Pulling your leg is an expression. What would he want with your toes? Asked Mrs. Jules. I don't know, but if he's willing to give me 5 cents apiece for them, then I'm going to have to take him up on it. That's 50 cents. At lunch, Leslie walked up to Louis. Okay, Louis, she said, you can have my toes for a nickel apiece. That will be 50 cents. Not so fast, said Louis. Let me look at them. Leslie took off her shoes. Yes. The big ones are good, and the ones next to them. But the most I'll give you for the rest of your toes is 3 cents each. 3 cents? You told me 5 at recess. Leslie was furious. I'll give you 5 cents for the big ones, but just look at that scrawny little runt of a toe on the end there. You're lucky to be even getting 3 cents for it. I think you're getting a darn good deal. I happen to like that toe, said Leslie. Fine then, said Louis. Keep it. I'll just take the two big toes and we'll call it square. He reached in his pocket and pulled out a dime. Nothing doing, said Leslie. These toes are sold as a set. It's either all 10 for 50 cents or no deal. What am I going to do with just 8 toes? Well, then forget it, said Louis. I'm not going to give you a nickel for those scrawny little toes. Fine, said Leslie. No deal. My toes will still be here if you change your mind. She turned and walked toward the hopscotch area. Wait a second, Louis called. I'll give you $1 for each of your pigtails. Leslie turned around and looked at him with fiery eyes. Cut my hair? She exclaimed. Are you crazy? And that is chapter 18. I'm going to do a quick chapter 19. You ready? Chapter 19 is called Miss Zarvis. Here it is. That's it. There is no Miss Zarvis. Therefore, there's no 19th story. Sorry. All right, next time we get together, you will be reading with me chapter 20, Kathy. Have a good day.